the advice I would give to someone that wants to do this full time would be, like I mentioned earlier, I would suggest to build this on the side of your, like just whatever 9 to 5 you have to pay the bills. The way I did it was I had my 9 to 5 and I built this business on the side after hours. And then I slowly started getting 1 client, 2 clients. And then eventually when I had enough clients on the freelance, I left the 9 to 5 and I focused full time on the freelance. And that's like maybe obvious advice, I don't know, but that was like really important and that's what helped me become successful and like transition from like just having a few clients on the side to that becoming like my full-time thing, you know? Because when you're building the freelance thing, you're not going to be making money. You're going to be like losing money. You're going to be failing.
You're starting off at a loss to begin with.
And you have to be practical. So you need to have that 9 to 5, whether it's just door dashing 9 to 5 or whatever, you know, maybe it's not related to video at all, you know? I think that's just so important. And for me, what I ended up doing was after I flipped from the 9 to 5 to my freelance business, editing for clients, what I started doing was that was my main thing. And then on the side of that, what I was doing was building up my personal YouTube. And then after a couple of years, I started making money from YouTube and that replaced my freelance business. So that's kind of like the flip that I did. When I worked in New York City, I worked for an entrepreneur named Gary Vaynerchuk, and I learned a lot from his philosophy, like business and work philosophies. And what he said is there's two work, basically like 2 work days in a day. There's your 9 to 5, and then there's your 7 to 2 a.m. And so basically I work the 9 to 5, and then the 7 to 2 a.m. is like what I focused on my other business. And that's kind of just how I figured things out and eventually made it happen.
And at what point did you feel you were comfortable with your clients, whether you had enough clients or just enough money coming in to quit the 9 to 5 and make it full time?
Good question.
Because you usually have 1 client that's paying you a lot, but it's still only 1 client. If you lose that one, now you're in trouble.
Yeah, so I guess it does depend. It's up to your discretion. But for me, once my freelance work was making more money than the 9 to 5, that's when I flipped it. And for me, even if I had 2 clients when I stopped the 9 to 5 and flipped it, but even if it was 1, and it's risky because you could lose that 1. For me, I was willing to take that risk because I left on good terms on the 9 to 5, and that's what I would suggest. Try to, when you're flipping, you know, your freelance, you're leaving the 9 to 5. Try to leave the 9 to 5 on good terms. If you fail with the freelance, you can go back to the 9 to 5, like because that's what happened to me actually when I worked for. So I had worked for my first job at the company called F2B, and then I went to VaynerMedia in New York City, and after 6 months, I ended up leaving that job because I didn't like it. Well, I liked it, but I just didn't want to pursue that any longer. So what I did was I went back to the F2B company. I left on good terms. I went back. And then so I went back to that and focused on building my business on the side. And so that's what I would suggest, is to try to leave on good terms, because you never know if you do fall on your face with your business, you need support to go back if you can, you know.
Yeah, keep a roof over your head.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
That freelance work can be sink or swim.
Yeah.
When you're doing that kind of thing.